Hey guys, so I'm gonna share some random ideas with you. Are you ready? Alright. A strange hammer that has an earth elemental inside that allows it to shape the most powerful weapons on Earth. Hey, it basically just has gnome inside of it. Cool. Hmm. Or maybe it has like the spirits of a dwarfen king inside of it that, was, an excellent blacksmith or something. Or maybe it just has a spirit of, a powerful, excellent, dwarven blacksmith or, kind of passed on and, his spirit kind of resided in the hammer. I think something like that could work. Alright, now next up is a special move. It's called Absorb Shield. This barrier art creates a field that absorbs damage and then after 2 to 3 turns throws back the damage at twice the power. Oh, so it's basically like Bite, only, it actually defends you. Only it actually does something while, it's active. That's good. Yeah, Bite is a move from Pokemon that's really not very good because, either you're doing not enough damage, or, your already opponent's, playing around it to kind of avoid it. Or, you die before, die before the limit of the bite, is up and, you don't get to throw back the damage. It's like counter and mirror code if they were bad. Yeah, it's like one of the first CMs you get in, Pokemon Gen 1. It's pretty dog water in that game too. But Absorb Shield seems like it's a better version of it. Alright, now, a shield wearing bronze armored fairy that has 8 bronze feathery wings and that has the ability to use barrier magic and use a special magical shield to aid and assist it with fights. Oh, that sounds like it'd be pretty cool. Yeah, just have a character that, is basically, defensive specialist. Yeah, I like that. I think something like that could work. Granted, I'm not sure how to actually implement something like that, but I like the idea. Alright, a strange round gray magician with black jagged glasses and a ducktail haircut that plays a guitar and that shoots explosive music. I remember, that just sounds like something out of a 90s anime, yeah. Or like an early 2000s anime, yeah. Or late 90s, early 2000s anime, yeah. Kind of reminds me of, have guys ever seen Shaman King? Well, I mean, there was one character with, like, the ducktail haircut in that. I don't think they were, if I remember correctly, they were not a musician, though. A race of half-man and half-scorpion warriors that master the art of, the use of 2 blades and have a poison-tipped tail as weapons in battle. Hey, I remember those guys. Those are the Squirtmen and, and Shantae. Obviously, they're based on Babylonian, scorpion men, but, whatever. A pale-skinned arachne that has the body of a female human and a black widow spider. Yo! Alright, we love black widow spiders. They're very striking looking. If you guys don't know what black widows look like, the females are like a big black spider with this very distinctive, red hourglass mark. So they're like super dangerous if you get bitten by them, and, they're kind of shy though, and, you prefer to run away from humans unless, really corner them or try to, destroy them. Then, you're in for a world of hurt. Yeah, I've definitely seen them in my neighborhood, yeah. I remember one time I was at a neighbor's house, kind of visiting them, and, they kind of saw we kind of saw a Black Widow, go by, and, he got out some spray and, some lighter to, light it up, yeah. Alright, now, irrelevant, but, whatever. A cleric and harpy that resembles a human girl in red and gold and has cardinal wings and carries a priest staff with her and uses the power of holy magic and has red wings on her head and, and black talon legs. Oh, so, alright, I like this. Harpy cleric, that sounds, very good, I like that. Yeah, now, going for the cardinal, that's a very striking bird. Yeah, it's like a very in fact, I'm pretty, yeah, unfortunately, it's like the males that, look like the big striking, red birds, but, yeah, alright, yeah, yeah. Isn't there a baseball team, based on the Cardinals? Alright, now, a strange stage that in order to advance, you must climb up ropes that are on fire as the fire climbs up the ropes, but you must also avoid obstacles up on the way up. Oh, I remember this stage. Isn't this a stage in Donkey Kong? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember something like that. A strange robotic egg that appears to be made of barrels. It has the ability to use different kinds of barrels as weapons and rolls up into a giant barrel to steamroll enemies. Alright, this sounds like the creation of this idea that I had for like a crazy alchemist who's like obsessed with barrels. Yeah, obviously I kind of based it on a little bit on that here. Yeah, I was considering them having basically, basically like a rip-off of Donkey Kong, that kind of uses barrels as a weapon, so this might be the perfect way to do it. Alright, now, a strange floating cloud-like creature that is made up of whipped cream, and they are known as cream apparitions that have the ability to fly in the air with effortless ease. It is said they live in castles in the clouds. Oh, they're made of whipped cream! That sounds sweet and delicious. Like yeah, it could be some sort of creature with devious motives that's like hiding sweet. That's like hiding, that's like hiding, devious motives under a sweet facade. Sort of like how it's common in Fairyland to, hide things like that under absurdity. Very common with, some of the less reputable members of the Sealy Court, unfortunately. A gigantic robot made out of a giant robot with a massive golden hammer that wanders in the background of a stage full of conveyor belts, and it periodically will smash it with its hammer. If you get caught underneath, you are dead. Alright, that just sounds like a Donkey Kong stage again. Yeah, kind of funny enough. I think I was playing the 3DS version of Donkey Kong Returns when I came up with this. I distinctly remember playing it, and I remember having a lot of trouble with the barrel stages. But I did see that they released it on the Switch, and it's a good game and all. But what the heck? Maybe I'll get it one day. I don't know. Maybe one day. I remember the stages being rather unique, and I kind of like that. But those games are kind of balls hard. Not gonna lie. Strange lava-like serpent that can transform into a flaming serpent that lives in the fires of the sun, swimming in oceans of lava. It has dark red scales and a flame-like mane and sharp deer-like antlers and spindly clawed hands. Yo, that just basically sounds like Solar Flare Dragon. Yo, you remember Solar Flare Dragon in Yu-Gi-Oh? I mean, back in the day when I was playing this really, really bad, really bad variant of a burn deck that was basically based on old school fire monsters. Solar Flare Dragon was kind of my boss monster because, I figured out you could get two of them and basically, attack lock your enemy. And I was also playing those cheeky floodgates, like Gravity Bind and Level Limit Area B. Remember those when they were viable floodgates until, ranks and, ranks, became a thing. Yeah, thanks to XYZ monsters and Link monsters, that's no longer a thing, unfortunately. I don't, yeah. Plus, there's plenty of good monsters that, aren't above, that aren't level 4 or higher anyway. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's like a whole I'm pretty sure, Splites, kind of works with basically every level 2 monster. Such as, frogs, which would inevitably get, the good frogs banned. Yeah, and also I've seen people, play it with, those VTuber thieves. Life Twin, Evil Twin. Anyway, that's irrelevant. Sorry about that. I went off on a tangent again, sorry. Anyway, that's all I have to share for you today. Remember to play games and have fun, okay? Bye-bye now. Man, I think I'm much more confident at this than, playing new video games, unfortunately. Yeah, I need to get better at those. Anyway, see you later.